We are on. Now, I hope that everything worked out. So, yeah, I see my messages I had left earlier from my other channel. All right, so I guess that's a success then. My first scheduled live video here on Parade the Gospel and ever. I've never done that before on any of my YouTube channels. So, all right, I think it works. But unfortunately, nobody was waiting. So, just like any other time, I'm going to have to wait for people to join me. That's fine. Hopefully, there are believers that join, and hopefully I can get some audience participation. Now, I've done this 3 times before. I think it was like February 22nd, where I tried to do this, and it was a Sunday, so whatever Sunday falls nearest to that. It's an idea I have thought about for a while, and my 300th video on this channel talked about it, like maybe the second half of it, but it is sending out a gospel presentation or a gospel tract through the mail. But specifically, this is just a little bit different. I want to send the gospel tract out with your help. I just thought this would be a fun thing to do every once in a while. Now, when I tried it out on February 22nd, whatever, tried it 3 different times, and only one time was I able to get one person to interact. And we did eventually come to an address, but it took some doing. But hopefully it won't be that way this time. But if it is, then well, I guess oh well. I'll just post a video anyway, and hopefully it will give others an idea. And this can literally become a ministry for a lot of people, I believe. You just do it once in a great while. It could be like once a month or something like that. Get your family involved, your kids involved, whatever. Or just do it yourself, husband, wife, or your church. So what you do is pray about it beforehand, which, to be honest with you, I kind of forgot to do that before I hit record on this video. I was in the process of another project, just something else I'm working on health-wise. It's something unrelated, but totally forgot to do that. But what you ideally want to do is pray beforehand and seek out somebody on Google Maps. That's what we're going to do. I'll read my letter in a little bit. This kind of serves as a template on what you can write handwritten letter. Preferably, it doesn't have to be. I can just print it off, and that way it's a lot faster. But you can see here how I have already written a message that will also go with a gospel tract. And in this case, I'll probably just use a $1 million bill gospel tract right there. That works pretty well. But you can write something. It doesn't have to be the same every time. Again, I have a template that you can use, but just, let God speak through you to this random person we're going to be sending a letter to. So what is the idea? Now, I have talked about before that you can send a gospel message, whether it's a handwritten presentation or a gospel tract, through the mail. It could be a neighbor. It could be somebody that you know. It could be just whoever it is that you want to reach. Maybe it's a specific individual. And it's up to you whether you want to remain anonymous or not. So that's one of the great things, is that you can, write your return address or name on there, or not if you don't want to. Up to you. So you can do that. I would just absolutely make positively sure that you have the correct address down, because me being a mailman, we see addresses that are wrong all the time, or no such numbers and things like that. You want to make sure that the correct address is written down. Sometimes people mix up the numbers, and if what we're going to do today is write down current residence, because we don't know the person's name. There are some ways you can find out, but it's not 100% reliable. You're going to write down current residence. You make sure that that address is absolutely correct, because especially if you're not going to have a return address, that's going to be a dead letter, and it's going to go nowhere, and that's not what we want to do. So again, this is just a great idea that any believer can do. Like I said, you can send a letter out to anybody, but specifically today, hopefully with the help of somebody out there. It says that there's 15 people watching right now, but hopefully someone out there can help me out with this. I just had this idea. That'd be really fun, is to have other Christians out there participate. So we're going to do a Google Maps thing where I'll ask the audience, hey, okay, select a state. And if let's just say a whole bunch of people respond, like a whole bunch of different states, it'll have to be up to me, I guess, at some point to point out, okay, I'll pick that one or whatever. Say Bob responds and says, like, I don't know, Minnesota. I'm like, okay, Bob, I'm gonna pick yours. We'll do Minnesota. And then someone will be, I'll zoom in and I'll flip the camera in a little bit, but I'll zoom in and then someone will be like, oh, let's try, I don't know, in the middle somewhere of Minnesota and to the east a little bit or something like that. So then we'll do that. And then the more and more people that play along, well, the more fun it would be, I guess. And the point of it is, I mean, it's kind of incorporated with my template letter, but there are some 140 million residential households in the United States. And what we're going to do is select one of those people to receive a gospel presentation. Like I said, I have a handwritten letter right here. I see a couple people are saying hi. Hi, how are you guys doing? Thanks for joining. Um, Got a handwritten message, and then I also have a gospel tract that I will include with it as well. This is just a simple $1 million bill gospel tract. There's all kinds of gospel tracts you can use, but for today's example, we're just going to do this one. And then once we come to an address, I'm going to write it down. You can watch me do it. And I don't know where the stamps are. I have to find those, but I'll eventually put the stamp on and I'll send it out in the mail. And again, it's something that just anybody can do for fun, handwritten message or just type something up and print it off. If you want to make multiple copies real fast, you can do that. I like the handwritten message so much more, just it's more personalized that way. Um, Again, I'll read my message, I think, in a little bit. It's kind of lengthy, but I just, you think about it, there's 100 million households, residential households out there, and you receive this message. And even if it's a believer, I have a point to make on that too, but it's you can't help but feel special that you were the one selected out of 140 million households that are out there. That person, was divinely selected by God. That's how I start out my letter. I say, "Dear individual, divinely selected by God," and then I have several paragraphs. But yeah, and if it's a Christian, then that person should be encouraged that they receive that message. I say this all the time as a Christian. It's super incredibly rare that someone shares the gospel with me without knowing I'm a believer, of course. Um, but it's something that you want to just do backflips over. Like I would be filled with joy if somebody were to share the gospel with me and they didn't know I was a believer. Or if I see people out there preaching the gospel or sharing gospel tracts or whatever at different events, that's awesome. I love to see that. It's pretty rare, but I still love to see that and it encourages me like crazy. I mean, even so much as like one time I went to the gas station to use the bathroom and somebody posted a gospel tract on the bulletin board, and it's a gospel tract that I'm familiar with using, and I was like super happy about that. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much. This video will probably be kind of short. I don't know, should I read through my message or maybe I'll wait until after we do the thing on MapQuest? So again, I tried this before and I didn't really get anybody to participate, but let me just flip the screen here. So yeah, just pull up MapQuest. It's easier to do on a cell phone, but unfortunately I just have to use a computer. I know it's not like, I don't have it like my screen as in the picture, if that makes sense. But anyway, we're gonna go to let's see, Street View. And again, you can do this on your phone as well. So we're gonna try this once again, and I'm gonna ask anybody out there, the two people that are watching right now, to pick a state, any state in the United States. We'll just start there. And, I want to get to the point where I can do this maybe, I don't know, a couple times a month maybe, and I can send out more than one letter at a time. We're just going to do one today. Again, I just want to kind of put this method on display, and it's something that you guys can pray about, and do yourselves as well. Write your own message up. Again, I have a message right here. I typed it out first as kind of a template, but I know it's longer, but it'll make someone feel special. I really truly believe that people should send more letters in the mail as well. So if nobody picks anything, I'm just going to do this myself, and I'll post this video anyway, and hopefully it'll get some traction and give people ideas on stuff. So I'll give it a couple more seconds yet. I just need a state in the United States somewhere. Any state, pick a state, any state. Going once, going twice. Just somebody type that in the comments. Again, ideally, it would be great if, like, I don't know, you have like 15, 30 believers who are watching this, and everyone's firing off states, and I'll have to pick one. Maybe two people will say Pennsylvania or something like that, and I'll just have to pick that. But it's pretty cool though, just the idea of like somebody way out in the sticks, some city, some town, some unincorporated village that nobody's ever heard of before. Somebody there they'll think, oh, somebody thought of me. I'm just a nobody out here somewhere in the United States in no man's land. It's getting the gospel. Somebody thought about me to write this long letter. This long letter right here, both sides almost, all the way down. So I'm just going to pick, because I don't want this video to be super long. I do have other things I want to do. So let's just say, oh boy, I don't know. Let's go with, let's see. Let's go to South Dakota. How about? So we're going to zoom in. I try to make sure I'm always looking at the right spot where I'm going. And then I would ask, oh, do you want me to go north, south, east, west, mid state or whatever of South Dakota? And I'll just kind of go around. And again, this is a work in progress. I'm trying to figure out like how I'm going to do this live. So you can see I'm just kind of going anywhere. Nobody's going to say anything. So I'm going to go to Williston. Is this still South Dakota? I think so. So this is probably a place that nobody's ever heard of before. But someone here is going to be awesome. That's a lot of residential area. Again, I got Street View on. So, and then ideally, somebody else in the comments would be like, oh, how about go, I don't know, right down here, south, I see Domino's Pizza. Let's go a little bit left of Domino's Pizza. So then I'll zoom in, wait for it to show me, where I'm at. And then you can see some street names. And then somebody else in the comments will be like, oh, hey, I just feel led to say 7th Street. Actually, let's go to north and west, or north and south street, because it looks like there's not too many houses on that edge there. So let's just say 7th Avenue. So we'll zoom in a little bit further, and I don't know, just that'll be kind of cool. Hey, where do you think I should go? Should I keep going? Somebody, oh, just stop right there, or however this will work. So let's just go right here. All right, so now we have a specific address will pop up right here. So 616 7th Avenue West, I believe that's what the W is, in Williston, North Dakota. Okay, we got into North Dakota, not South Dakota anymore, but that's okay. So I don't know, maybe I'll just travel down the street and then someone will be like, oh, how about that house right there, or whatever. That's kind of the fun of it. So just, travel down the street here. And someone will say, well, how about that blue house right there? 706 or 5? Or 702. Or there's 706 on the side there. And look, they got a mailbox. You can see it right there. That mailbox. I'm feeling good about this one. We're going to deliver a letter. This letter is going to go in that box right there. Now, pro tip, if you want to do this, make sure that, it'll say right here, okay, so September 2025. You want to make sure that the house is not vacant looking or that there's a for sale sign and these pictures were just taken. Now, this kind of looks like a rundown house just a little bit. But you know what? I'm going to try it anyway, but look for evidence that there's actually somebody living there. So, looks like I see like a grill or something over there. Yeah, if I were walking past this house, I'd probably be wondering, oh, does anybody even live there? Is it a vacant house? You want to make sure to the best of your ability. I could just, instead, let's just go next door and go to, if I click on it, does it like show up the address? Really? I think it does. We got 712 7th Avenue West in Williston, North Dakota. But, I did say the 706, so maybe we should just do that. And I like the idea of, hey, look at that mailbox right there. That mailbox, like we're looking at it right now, it's just pretty cool to think about. This right here, all this stuff is going to go in that box. Or we can do 702. Anybody have any suggestions? You feel strongly about something? Looks like they got some materials down here, so somebody should be living there. It's a pretty small house. Maybe God has prepared them in advance to be primed for the gospel. There's a park across the street, it looks like. You know what? Maybe we should do this corner house right here, 702. I have a corner house, and I'm right across the street from a park as well. So yeah, you can see that mailbox right there. How about we deliver this stuff to that box? Does that sound good? I think we should do that. But again, ideally, like audience participation of some sort would be pretty cool. But just for your sake, like if you wanted to do this at home, then you could. So, you know what? I'm thinking either 702 or 706. I did say 706 at first. Again, you want to make sure that people actually live there. And that's like the only thing that's holding me back right now because it does kind of look run-downish, but there is evidence that somebody lives. That's a trash can. I thought it was like a grill or something. Well, let's just travel down the street a little bit. Yeah, some of these homes, you just kind of wonder if somebody actually lives there. And that's going to happen every once in a while when you do something like this. But you know what? I don't know. Maybe I should just stick to the original plan and go to that house. Let's just see what's down here. I mean, you want to reach anybody. It doesn't matter. Rich, poor, whatever. We got some people right here outside. We can deliver to this box right here. These two guys. Could it be like a father-son situation or somebody else? I don't know. But they could get the gospel. Well, I have a for sale sign right here. Okay, maybe, I mean, you can assume that they probably bought the house now or, sold the house, whatever. Or how about 616? It's also an option. Somebody clearly looks like that they live there. So maybe we can do that. Or let's go across the street. So, I don't know. What do you guys think out there? But somebody clearly looks like that they live here, at least back in September 2025, when this was taken. Maybe we just got to pick something. Come on, Kurt. Let's just commit and do something. Let's do that. How's about? Or should I just do the corner house I was talking about way before? We got to commit. All right, so we're going to do this. So get my letter ready. It's going to be kind of hard without... Oh, hold on. Let me just flip the camera again. Okay, so we're going to do current resident, and we are going to put down 616 7th Avenue and W, which is usually it's like West 7th Avenue or something like that, not the W at the very end, but whatever. And this is in Williston. Make sure everything is spelled correctly. North Dakota. And then I am going to find the zip code because it doesn't have it on here, I don't think. So as I'm waiting for that to be pulled up, well, hold on. Williston, North Dakota zip code. You might need to type in like the complete address because some cities have different zip codes. So I'll just do that. Otherwise, I'm sure the mail people should be able to figure it out. All right, the zip code should be 58801. All right, so 1 second. Just making sure of something else here. Yeah, I probably could have said ND for North Dakota, but oh well. All right, so flip the camera again, just to prove to you guys, there it is. Yeah, my beautiful handwriting, right? All right, got the Gospel Tract, the letter, all right, hold on. I'll flip the camera again. And what I should do is get a notebook and write down all the addresses that I have done this for. And then maybe someday that notebook will be filled up. But there it is, guys. And for this time, maybe in the future I won't, I don't know, but I'll remain anonymous. So maybe I can think of something fun to put there. But I'm just going to put current resident, address, and there it is. So I love it. Now, maybe I should talk about the content of the note. Now, this is just a template. I'll just flip the camera and read it. Just a template. Doesn't have to be like this, but I'll go through it somewhat quickly. So, dear individual divinely selected by God, I know this is a seemingly random letter that you are not expecting, but let me explain. I am a Christian and an evangelist. It is my job and it is my pleasure to share this with as many people as possible, or as many people as I can with the gospel of salvation. This is just one of those ways, and it brings me a lot of joy and fun to be doing it this way for the first time. I started off by saying you were divinely selected by God to receive this letter. Let me explain. I have been praying for the one who would receive this. I put my trust in God that by randomly finding an address to send this to, God would have his sovereign hand in the process. I went on Google Maps and randomly selected an area in the United States, found a city or town, narrowed down to a random street, and then a random house on Street View where I could see the numbered address. There are some 130, I should change it to 140 because I think that's what it actually is, 140 million residential addresses in America. I selected yours. It wasn't by mistake, and I am trusting in God. I hope that hits you. That God wanted you to have this, and that God wanted you to have this, and that it was by his providence. I don't know about you, but I feel blessed and special. I believe his word does not return void and accomplishes precisely what it was meant to, and then I quote Isaiah 55:11. Enclose the Gospel Tract that lays out our dire need for a Savior, short and to the point. There is also a website you can go to for more information, but the point of it is simply show you why we need Christ and what we need to do. And that's also another point that I could make is like in your letter you can put down like a God.com or some other gospel sharing website. Continuing on. We need to be reconciled to God because we have all sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and it needs to be personal to us as we see all the signs or symptoms of our fallen nature so that we can appreciate and appropriate the cure in Jesus Christ. When you see how we have broken God's law, we see our plight before an eternally holy God, and we see he is extending his mercy and grace to us that we might be saved. We never met and likely never will on this side of eternity, but I hope this simple letter will change the course of your life and eternity. Please take the time to read and consider the message on the tract. If you are a Christian, then I pray that this is an encouragement. It's rare when someone shares the gospel with me not knowing I am a Christian. I want to make a point about that in a bit. But if it does happen, I am blessed and super excited that I want to do backflips. But if that is you, know that your brothers or sisters in Christ are actively sharing the gospel and would love your prayers. And it is my hope this might inspire you to get in the game and be involved too. These are curious times we are living in, and what better time than now? And then I say Mark 16:15 and Isaiah 44:22, and then I put down sincerely one for Christ. And that's the end of it. So I took that and I wrote it down on a piece of paper. That's what you saw. Doesn't have to be that long, but again, like just do this like once a month. We spend so much time doom scrolling on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, wasting so much time. This is just something really fun, or get one of your kids maybe write a message or just something like that. This could be such an awesome, awesome ministry, I believe. Now, the point I wanted to make, I already made the point before about, doing backflips and being encouraged and excited and stuff when I see other people sharing the gospel or with myself or whatever. The cults, like Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, they are out there right now doing even similar things. Like, I don't want to say too much, but let's just say I know that, I think it's Mormons. No, maybe the Jehovah's Witnesses, probably both, but the JWs for sure write extensive things to people and send it in the mail. And I'm sure this is better. Just trust me on that. But the cults are out there. They're doing stuff. They go door to door. They do all kinds of things, and we just, I don't see as many Christians out there actively doing anything. But what a perfect thing to do. You don't have to be a retired grandma or, older person who's retired to write a simple letter like this and send it out in the wild somewhere. You can just do this anytime and have fun, have joy with it. Just, even just type something up, print it off. Yeah, stamps cost more now than it did 10 years ago, and they're probably going to go just keep going up. But still, sacrifice less than $1 to send out a letter like once a month or something like that. Have a printed out thing, whatever. Write much shorter message, just make sure that everything fits in the standard letter and it's not too bulky and stuff. Otherwise, you're gonna need more postage. But anyway, nobody's watching right now. Nobody participated, but I was kind of hoping, even doing the live video that was pre-scheduled, maybe some people would be in here. But yeah, maybe I just gotta go my YouTube channel or something. I don't know. But once again, guys, let me just show you. So I have this written down. I'll send that out. But let me zoom out here again, show you the idea that I had. And it'll probably just get better in the way that I do this live. It'd be nice if like the state lines were more well defined, but that's okay. So let's just go to, I can't even tell, is this Nebraska? I think it's Nebraska. Well, no. Let's just go here. Whatever city or state this is, in city Tyndall. We're gonna go here. Obviously you pray about it beforehand. And okay, we got some residential homes here. We'll go to North Washington Street. Or no, let's go to Holly Street. Let's pick right here. And we have some homes to select from. Which one should we do? 101 Holly Street. That's what's showing up right here. And that's South Dakota. So yeah, again, this is just an example. We can send a letter out to this mailbox. So is there a mailbox that we can see? No, I don't see any mailbox, but 1704. Wait, this can't still be Holly Street because it's 1704. That's 101, so that doesn't make any sense. You want to make sure, though. Again, make absolutely sure. What's this Holly Street right here? You have the absolute correct address. Like double, triple check it. But my mailman brain is saying to me, that doesn't make sense. There's 101 right there and 1704 right here. So it is 1704 because it's on the house. But why do I have 101 showing up right there? I don't know. But again, that's just an example of what you can do. If you want to like absolutely make sure you can go by the street sign. Yeah, so we're on Holly Street. And another example, 1800. Yeah, now that's correct right there. I don't know why it wasn't before. Where are the mailboxes? I think there might be a mailbox in there. Maybe it's maybe they have a cluster box somewhere, or they're all PO boxes. Who knows? But something you can do. Oh, I think I see a mailbox right here at 1804. I mean, I guess that is another point. Some people might have a PO box, but if I have like a PO box on my route, which I do, and somebody sends a letter to it, then I just give it to the post office, and yeah, they just put it in the PO box. So yeah. Anyway, I am 30 minutes in and a little bit longer than what I wanted to go, but yeah, next time, audience participation, guys. I just think that this would be kind of fun, to put some of the power in your hands. You can help choose where to send the gospel. Now, of course, another point should be made that as far as the street view, it doesn't cover necessarily every single residential street. So I can just zoom in at O'Neill, whatever state we're in. You can see that there's some stuff here that's not covered. but most of it is. Yeah, there's one street right here. It looks like it doesn't have anything. Kipples Court. And then I don't know what this is right here, but you get the idea. So we are on East Grant Street in O'Neill, Nebraska. Bet you nobody out there's ever heard of O'Neill, Nebraska before. But hey, these people need the gospel. Right here, that mailbox, who wants to stuff it? Looks like that is, it could be 816, given that there's 817 nearby, probably on the opposite side of the street. Sometimes you click on it. Yeah, oh, I saw 816 pop up for a quick second, and then went back to 817, which is probably on the other side. And yep, 817. So yeah, just be absolutely wise in selecting your addresses. Make sure it's the right address, especially if you only have a return address on it. And there you go. All right, well, we've gone long enough. We're going to send this out to that box. And hopefully, guys, you utilize this method, or even if it's just a neighbor or someone nearby, you can do that too, or just drop it off by their house, whatever. But utilize a handwritten message. Honestly, seriously, I think that goes a long way. It shows that you care, that you're really taking the time to be a blessing to somebody. And if you don't like the message I wrote necessarily, hey, write your own message and or give me some ideas or whatever. So anyway, God bless, and we'll see you next time.